Hey everyone! Tonight I have 5 disturbing stories that took place during Thanksgiving, a holiday that's supposed to be about family, gratitude, and celebration. Thanksgiving brings people together. Family members travel from across the country to gather around a table, share a meal, and make memories. But sometimes those gatherings take a dark turn. Sometimes an uninvited guest shows up. Sometimes family secrets are revealed. And sometimes what should be the most wonderful time of the year becomes a nightmare no one will ever forget. These 5 stories will make you look at your Thanksgiving dinner table differently. Let's begin. Story 1: The Extra Plate. This first story comes from a woman named Rebecca, whose family hosted Thanksgiving dinner at their home in rural Pennsylvania. Rebecca's parents had a large farmhouse where the extended family gathered every year. This particular Thanksgiving, about 15 people were expected: aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. Rebecca arrived early on Thanksgiving morning to help her mother prepare the meal. They spent hours in the kitchen, roasting the turkey, making stuffing, baking pies. Around 2 p.m., family members started arriving. By 3 p.m., everyone was there, laughing and catching up in the living room while the final touches were put on dinner. At 4 p.m., Rebecca's mother called everyone to the dining room. The table was beautifully set, candles, flowers, and place settings for everyone. But as people sat down, Rebecca's Aunt Jennifer noticed something odd. "Margaret, you set an extra place. There are 16 place settings, but only 15 of us." Rebecca's mother frowned. "What? No, I counted. Let me check." She walked around the table counting. 16 plates, 16 sets of silverware, 16 napkins. "That's strange," Rebecca's mother said. "I must have miscounted. I'll take one away." But Rebecca's Uncle Tom stopped her. "Wait, who set the table?" "I did," Rebecca's mother said, "this morning. Did anyone else touch it?" Everyone shook their heads. "Then why is there an extra place?" Tom asked. An uncomfortable silence fell over the room. Rebecca's grandfather, who'd been quiet, suddenly spoke up. "It's for William." Everyone turned to look at him. "Dad, what are you talking about?" Rebecca's father asked. "William. We always set a place for William, don't you remember?" Rebecca's grandmother had passed away 5 years earlier. "Dad, Mom stopped doing that years ago. After William's funeral, she stopped." The grandfather looked confused. "But who set the extra place then?" Everyone looked at Rebecca's mother. "I didn't set it for William. I didn't even think about it. I counted 15 people and set the table. I don't know why there's 16. Rebecca felt a chill run down her spine. Rebecca's father removed the extra plate, and they all sat down to eat. But throughout the meal, Rebecca couldn't shake the feeling that someone else was in the room. After dinner, Rebecca was helping clean up in the kitchen when her mother pulled her aside. "Rebecca, I need to tell you something, and I don't want you to think I'm crazy." "What is it, Mom?" "When I was setting the table this morning, I kept feeling like I should set one more place, like someone was telling me to. I tried to ignore it, but the feeling was so strong, so I set the extra place. I didn't even realize I'd done it until your aunt pointed it out." Rebecca felt her skin crawl. Later that night, after everyone had left, Rebecca's father went to the attic to put away some decorations. He found something that made him call Rebecca and her mother upstairs. A box labeled William. Inside were William's belongings, his high school yearbook, photos, letters, and at the bottom of the box was a journal. Rebecca's father opened it to the last entry. It was dated November 1984, the day William died. The entry read, "Thanksgiving is in 2 weeks. I can't wait. I love when the whole family gets together. I hope we do this forever. Even when I'm gone, I want to be part of it. I want to sit at that table with everyone, always." Rebecca's father closed the journal, his hands shaking. None of them slept well that night. And the next Thanksgiving, Rebecca's mother set 16 places, without even thinking about it. Because now they all know William is still there, still sitting at the table, still part of the family, just like he wanted.
Story 2. The Unexpected Guest. This story comes from a family in suburban Atlanta, a mother named Karen, her husband Paul, and their 2 teenage kids, Emma and Jake. Every Thanksgiving, they hosted a small dinner, just the 4 of them and Karen's elderly mother. This particular year, everything was going smoothly. Dinner was in the oven, the table was set, and Karen's mother had just arrived. Around 5 p.m., there was a knock at the door. Paul answered it. A man stood on the porch. He looked to be in his 40s, wearing a worn jacket and jeans. His hair was disheveled, and he had several days' worth of beard growth. "Can I help you?" Paul asked. "Hi, I'm sorry to bother you on Thanksgiving," the man said. "My car broke down a few blocks away. I was wondering if I could use your phone to call a tow truck. My cell is dead." Paul hesitated. Something about the situation felt off, but it was Thanksgiving, and the man seemed genuinely in need. "Sure, come in." The man stepped inside, bringing a wave of cold air with him. "I really appreciate this," the man said. Paul handed him the cordless phone from the kitchen. The man dialed a number and walked into the living room for privacy. Karen came out from the kitchen. "Who was at the door?" "Some guy whose car broke down. I let him use the phone." Karen frowned. "You let a stranger into our house?" "It's Thanksgiving. I wasn't going to leave him outside." Karen walked into the living room to check on the man. He was standing by the fireplace, looking at family photos on the mantel. "Did you reach the tow company?" The man turned to face her. "Not yet. Got their voicemail. I left a message." "Okay. Well, is there anything else we can help you with?" The man smiled. "Actually, that smells amazing. What are you cooking?" "Turkey. It's Thanksgiving." "I know. I haven't had a Thanksgiving dinner in years." Karen felt uncomfortable. "Well, I hope your car gets fixed soon." The man didn't move. He just kept smiling. "Can I ask you something? Do you have a daughter named Emma?" Karen's blood ran cold. "How do you know my daughter's name?" "The mantle. The photos. They're labeled." Karen looked at the photos. None of them had names written on them. "I think you should leave," Karen said, her voice firm. "I just wanted to use the phone. I'm not causing any trouble." "You need to go, now." Paul appeared in the doorway, sensing the tension. "Is everything okay?" "He needs to leave," Karen said. The man raised his hands. "Fine, I'm going. Thanks for nothing." He walked to the door, opened it, and left. Paul locked the door behind him. "What the hell was that about?" Paul asked. He knew Emma's name, but there's no way he could have known it from the photos. They looked out the front window. The man was walking down the street, not toward a broken-down car, but just walking away. Karen called the police and reported the incident. Officers came and took a statement. They drove around the neighborhood, but found no sign of the man or any broken-down vehicles. The family tried to enjoy their Thanksgiving dinner, but everyone was on edge. Around 9 p.m., Emma was in her upstairs bedroom when she looked out her window. The man was standing across the street, staring at her window. Emma screamed. Paul called 911 again. By the time police arrived, the man was gone. But they found something that made Karen's stomach turn. On the porch, right by the front door, was a note, written on a crumpled piece of paper. "Thank you for dinner. See you next year." But they hadn't given him dinner. The police increased patrols in the neighborhood for several weeks. The man was never identified. Security footage from a neighbor's camera captured him walking down the street, but the image was too grainy to make out his face. The family installed a security system and got a large dog. They never answered the door on Thanksgiving again. Because they know he's still out there, and he knows where they live. And he said he'd see them next year.
Story 3. The Locked Room. This story comes from a woman named Michelle, who went to her boyfriend's family Thanksgiving dinner for the first time. Michelle had been dating Andrew for about 8 months. He'd invited her to spend Thanksgiving with his family at their home in upstate New York. Michelle was nervous, but excited to meet everyone. She arrived at the house, a large old Victorian, on Thanksgiving morning. Andrew's parents, his sister, and his grandparents were all there. Everyone was friendly and welcoming. Michelle felt at ease. Around midday, Michelle asked to use the restroom. "Upstairs, second door on the right," Andrew's mother said. Michelle went upstairs. The hallway had several doors. Michelle counted and opened the second door on the right. But it wasn't a bathroom. It was a bedroom. A child's bedroom. The room was frozen in time. Toys on the floor, posters on the walls, a bed made with cartoon character sheets. But everything was covered in dust, like no one had touched anything in years. Michelle realized her mistake and backed out of the room. She found the bathroom, actually the third door, and used it. When she came back downstairs, Andrew's mother pulled her aside. "Did you open the wrong door?" Michelle felt embarrassed. "I'm so sorry. I miscounted. I opened a bedroom by mistake." Andrew's mother's face went pale. "Which bedroom?" "The one with the kids' toys. I didn't touch anything, I promise." Andrew's mother looked like she might faint. Andrew came over. "Mom, what's wrong?" "She opened Ethan's room." Andrew's face went white. "Michelle, we need to talk," Andrew said, leading her to the front porch. "What's going on? Who's Ethan?" Andrew took a deep breath. "Ethan was my younger brother. He died when he was 8. I was 12. It happened on Thanksgiving 14 years ago." Michelle's stomach dropped. "Oh my God, Andrew. I'm so sorry. I didn't know." "It's not your fault. We don't talk about it. My parents keep his room exactly the way it was. They've locked the door for years. I don't understand how you got in. That door's been locked since the funeral." Michelle frowned. "It wasn't locked. It opened when I turned the handle." Andrew and Michelle went back upstairs. Andrew tried the door to Ethan's room. It was locked. "It's locked now," Andrew said. "Are you sure it was open?" "I'm positive. I walked in. I saw the whole room."
Andrew's father appeared at the top of the stairs. "What's going on?" "Michelle says Ethan's door was unlocked." Andrew's father's face darkened. "That's impossible. I check that lock every week. It's been locked for 14 years. He pulled out a key and unlocked the door. They all looked inside. Everything was as Michelle had described, except for one thing. On the dusty floor near the door, there were footprints. Small footprints, child-sized, leading from the door to the bed. But Michelle's footprints were there too, larger, showing where she'd stepped into the room. Andrew's father stumbled backward. "No one's been in this room. No one." They called the police, thinking someone had broken in. Officers came and investigated. The window was locked from the inside. The door had been locked. There were no signs of forced entry. The only footprints were Michelle's adult-sized ones, and the smaller prints that looked like they'd been there for a while. The dust around them had settled differently. The officers had no explanation, but Andrew's grandfather, who had been silent the whole time, finally spoke. "He's still here. I told you all. Ethan never left." "Dad, please," Andrew's father said. "Every Thanksgiving, I hear him upstairs, playing in his room. I thought I was going crazy, but now..." She opened the door. She saw the room. Ethan wanted her to see it. Michelle felt a chill run through her entire body. The family didn't talk much during dinner. Michelle and Andrew left right after the meal. They broke up 2 months later. Michelle couldn't shake the memory of that room. Those small footprints, and the feeling she'd had while standing in that doorway. The feeling that someone was standing right behind her, watching. A child who'd been waiting for someone to open the door.
Story 4: The Basement Tradition. This story comes from a man named Joel, who married into a family with a very strange Thanksgiving tradition. Joel's wife, Amanda, came from a large family in rural Ohio. They gathered every Thanksgiving at her parents' farmhouse, the same house Amanda had grown up in. This was Joel's first Thanksgiving with the family since marrying Amanda. Everything seemed normal at first. The family was loud, friendly, and welcoming. Dinner was a huge spread with all the traditional foods. But after dinner, something strange happened. Amanda's father stood up and made an announcement. "All right, everyone, it's time." The entire family stood up and started walking toward the basement door. Joel looked at Amanda, confused. "What's going on?" "It's just a family tradition," Amanda said. "Come on." Joel followed everyone down to the basement. The basement was large, unfinished, with concrete floors and exposed beams. In the center of the room was a table with candles on it. Everyone gathered around the table. Amanda's father lit the candles. "We gathered today as we do every year to give thanks, but also to remember and to honor the agreement." The family responded in unison, "We honor the agreement." Joel felt incredibly uncomfortable. This felt like some kind of ritual. "What agreement?" Joel whispered to Amanda.
I'll explain later. Just go along with it. Amanda's father continued. We give thanks for our prosperity, for our health, for our family, and in return, we offer what was promised. He picked up a knife and made a small cut on his palm. Blood dripped into a bowl on the table. One by one, each family member did the same. When it was Joel's turn, he hesitated. I don't understand what this is. The room went silent. Everyone stared at him. Joel, just do it, Amanda whispered urgently. No, this is insane. What is this? Amanda's father's expression darkened. Young man, this tradition has kept this family safe and prosperous for 5 generations. Every member participates, no exceptions. Safe from what? From what lives beneath this house. Joel felt his skin crawl. What are you talking about? Amanda grabbed Joel's arm. Joel, please, just trust me. I'll explain everything later. But Joel pulled away. No, this is crazy. I'm not doing this. He turned and walked upstairs. Amanda followed him. Joel, wait. What the hell was that? Joel demanded. Some kind of cult ritual? Amanda's face was pale. It's not a cult. It's protection. Protection from what? Amanda took a deep breath. There's something in this house, under it. My great-great-grandfather built this house on top of it. He made a deal. The thing down there leaves us alone as long as we honor the agreement every Thanksgiving. That's insane. Joel, every family member who's refused to participate has died. Within a year, always on Thanksgiving, always in this house. Joel stared at her. You're serious. My cousin refused 5 years ago. He thought it was stupid. He died the next Thanksgiving. Carbon monoxide poisoning, right here, in this house. Joel felt sick. I can't be part of this. Then you have to leave. And you can't come back. Ever. Joel looked at his wife, the woman he loved, and saw genuine fear in her eyes. If you don't participate, it will come for you. Joel left that night. He tried to convince Amanda to leave with him, but she refused. They divorced 6 months later. Joel remarried a few years later and started a new life. But every Thanksgiving, he thinks about that basement, that ritual, and he wonders, what's under that house? And why does Amanda's family really gather there every year? Joel doesn't know if he made the right choice, but he knows one thing. He's still alive, and he's never going back to that house, no matter what.
Story 5. The Grateful Dead. This final story comes from a woman named Diane, who worked as a nurse at a hospice care facility. Diane often volunteered to work holidays so her coworkers with families could spend time at home. This Thanksgiving, she was one of 2 nurses on duty, caring for a small number of patients. The hospice was quiet that evening. Most of the patients were asleep or resting. Around 8 p.m., Diane was doing her rounds when she walked past room 12. The room belonged to Mr. Harrison, an elderly man in his 90s who'd been in hospice for 2 weeks. He was expected to pass within days. As Diane passed the room, she heard voices, multiple voices, talking and laughing. Diane frowned. Mr. Harrison's family had visited earlier in the day, but had left hours ago. She knocked on the door
and opened it. Mr. Harrison was lying in bed, eyes closed. But sitting in chairs around his bed were 4 people. 2 men and 2 women, all elderly, dressed in old-fashioned clothing. They were talking to each other, laughing, like they were at a party. "Excuse me," Diane said. "Visiting hours ended at 7. You'll need to leave." The 4 people turned to look at her, and Diane's blood ran cold. They were translucent. She could see through them. Ghosts. Diane stumbled backward, her heart pounding. One of the women smiled at her. "Don't worry, dear. We're just here for Thanksgiving dinner. We'll be gone soon." Diane ran out of the room and straight to her colleague, Maria. "Maria, there are people in room 12, but they're not real. They're ghosts." Maria's eyes widened. "What do you mean, 2? I've seen them before. Every time a patient is close to dying around a holiday, they show up. They come to take them home." Diane felt dizzy. "That's impossible." "Go look again." Diane and Maria walked back to room 12. The door was still open. The 4 figures were still there, but now they were standing around Mr. Harrison's bed, holding hands. They were humming something, a hymn. Mr. Harrison's eyes opened. He looked at the figures and smiled. "It's time?" he whispered. One of the men nodded. "It's time, Charles. We've been waiting for you. The whole family is here." Mr. Harrison's smile widened. "All of them?" "All of them. It's Thanksgiving. We're together again." Mr. Harrison took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and exhaled one final time. The monitor flatlined, and the 4 figures faded away. Diane and Maria stood in the doorway, stunned. They called the doctor and officially pronounced Mr. Harrison's time of death. Later, Diane looked at Mr. Harrison's file. The 4 people she'd seen were in family photos. His wife, who had died 30 years earlier, his brother, who had died in World War II, and his parents. They'd come to take him home on Thanksgiving. Diane still works at the hospice, and every holiday she pays attention to the rooms of patients who are close to passing. Because sometimes she sees them, the visitors, the family members who've crossed over, coming back to collect their loved ones for one final Thanksgiving dinner. Together again. So, which story disturbed you the most? The family who set an extra plate for their deceased son? The unexpected guest who knew too much? The locked room that shouldn't have been open? The blood ritual in the basement? Or the nurse who saw ghosts coming to collect a dying patient? Let me know in the comments below. These stories remind us that Thanksgiving isn't always about warmth and joy. Sometimes it's about secrets, about traditions we don't understand, about visitors we didn't invite, and about the thin line between the living and the dead. This Thanksgiving, as you gather with your family, remember, you might not be the only ones at the table. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe out there.